Hi everyone, welcome back to Pine Hollow Auto Diagnostics. Behind me I have a 2007 BMW 328 convertible, hardtop convertible. Haven't seen one of these in a while. The guy drove it here all the way from Connecticut, like 6 hours away. He said no one can figure it out over there and he wants this thing fixed. It has sentimental value. 126,000 miles. Guess what the customer complaint is? The windows and the top are completely dead. Alright, let's read through the customer complaint here. We got a pretty long, detailed description. Let's see, really love watching videos. I've sent occasional comments. Cornell dad, apparently this belonged to a late brother-in-law. Okay, his two kids both graduated from Cornell. Car's basically a daily driver in New York City, surprisingly dependable until my son hit a pothole. Perhaps irrelevant, in January. Banged up a control arm and a tire, got that fixed in a shop in Queens, New York. A couple of weeks later, he noticed the windows are acting wonky. A couple later, the convertible top wouldn't open and the red light and the top down button was blinking and chiming. Windows didn't respond. He brought it back to the original shop, who sent it to another shop in Queens, supposedly a German electric expert. They had the car about a month, seemed to hack at it, had my son get the module that sits on the fuse box behind the glove box, the beginning of the parts cannon, not fixed. They got frustrated after this. Actually didn't charge my son anything for their frustration and said try somewhere else. So the German electric experts gave up. However, they didn't charge him anything, which is surprising. But the car is definitely not any better. Alright, so then after that, he brought it to this guy Charlie. Known him a long time, he's a great mechanic. Rebuild transmissions. He gets help from more complex electrical stuff from a young colleague who has a fancy BMW software, supposedly a wizard of these complex German issues. In any event, he had the car about a month. Tried swapping a footwell module, CTM module, that's a convertible top module, and most recently a salmon colored relays. The contacts look a bit burnt. He's really frustrated. Be happy to have you brought in as a consultant. Reach out to him. We can... anyways, it sounds like this car's been to two shops. It's been off the road for half a year with not working windows or top. And it has been messed with. Modules have been swapped, relays have been swapped. The owner tells me switches are disconnected. This is not going to be a quick and easy diagnosis, I'll tell you that right now. We're charging by the hour. So let's start from scratch, do a full health report, see if there are any codes set, and take it from there. Alright, health report. Actually, surprisingly, there's only 3, 4, 5, 6 codes set in the entire car. 3 of them are in the footwell module. Let's see here. And it just says analog switch, steering column, headlight flasher, main beam faulty, steering column direction indicator right faulty, steering column direction indicator left faulty. That's it. The convertible top module, no faults. So let's go look at some wiring diagrams. I want to see which modules control the windows, how the top is controlled, and with a scanner, if we can get into those modules, can we do bidirectional controls and see switch inputs? We're going to start with the scanner, get as much information as possible, collect data, and then kind of take it from there. The owner said that some of the switches are unplugged, some of the window motors are unplugged because they would go down and not back up. So we're going to have to deal with all this, and unfortunately they reassembled the entire interior. So I'm going to have to disassemble the entire interior just to plug stuff in. This is not going to be very efficient. Alright, so full code scan complete. We have 19 modules total, which for a BMW that seems like not too much because it's a 2007. Which modules control the windows? We can go to Power Windows and just look at the motors. So it says rear side motor and driver side rear, passenger side rear. These are controlled by junction box under right side of dash. We scroll down and it looks like power window switch passenger side, driver side, rear are talking to the junction box. Okay? Now, passenger window motor right front and left front, these talk to the footwell module under left side of dash. And here's the power window switch passenger side. And where is the power window switch driver switch cluster? It looks like that's on a LIN bus. And the power window switch passenger side actually talks to the junction box. Interesting. Anyways, let's start with this footwell module. Can we do bidirectional test? Will the windows go up and down? Actuation test. Power window front. Open window driver. Activate. Look at that. Okay. Activation finished. Close window driver side. Active. Very good. Let's try the passenger window. Open window front passenger side. So there's nothing wrong with the actual window motor. Close window front passenger side. Okay. I'm actually going to roll the windows down so we don't get locked out here. And by the way, you definitely need a battery maintainer to do this diagnosis because the engine's not running. TOPDON 20 to 90,000 set at 13.5 volts. Definitely need that. Okay, so we know that the front windows can go up and down. If we look at data stream in power windows, let's see, select all. What if we click these buttons? Okay, window front left, opening automatic, opening, and then front right, opening, automatic, no actuation, closing, closing automatic. Excellent. So we can see the switches. The rear left, opening, opening automatic, opening, opening automatic. So you can see all of the switches. The windows can work bidirectionally from a scanner, but they're not working from the switches and it's setting no codes. Now that is bizarre. Let's go to the junction box and see if the rear windows work. Alright, now let's go into junction box and actuation test. Power window regulator rear. Open rear driver side window. Active. Okay, so that did not work. Open rear passenger side window. Did not work. So the rear windows are indeed disabled. Let's look at data stream. Power windows. Now where are these switches located? Look, they have spare switches, they have relays, they have modules. Where are the buttons for the rear seat passengers? Let me find those. So I'm looking at the owner's manual. Apparently there are no individual switches for the rear windows. These quarter windows, there are no buttons for the rear passengers. So we just have these and the one button over there on the passenger side. Then we have this big button, and that is for opening and closing all the windows simultaneously. Let's see if the module can read or see that input, and also if we can see the input from the passenger switch. So if I pull this button up one notch, check what happens with all four closing, and then if I push it down, opening, opening automatic, closing. Fantastic. So the command is there. Let's try this switch. Nothing. Nothing. So passenger switch seems to be offline. Well, actually, power window switch passenger side, that actually talks to our junction box. So we have to go into the junction box data stream, and power window switch passenger door. If I push it down, opening, push it down all the way, tip opening, pull it up, tip closing, closing, no actuation. So the modules can see all the switches, and the front windows go up and down perfectly fine. Is there some kind of calibration to teach the windows? This is very bizarre. Alright, let's move on to the convertible top. So I'm looking at the data pits for this close and open button, and the owner is right, they left that unplugged. So let's see what happens when we plug that in. Alright, here we go. Plug the button in, it's flashing red. So if I pull up, I heard all the windows go up. What if I push it down? Open. Okay. Let's see if we set any codes. It's flashing red. Read fault code. No DTCs in the power top module. Let's smart scan one more time. See what happens. Okay, hey, we got two codes. JBE power window relay opening driver side rear, JBE power window relay open passenger side rear. So I wonder if they took out relays or unplugged the motors. So we have to re-enable this to go any further. Guys, I was reading the manual. I'm like, why is this thing flashing red? This is crazy. Automatic sequence interruption. Automatic sequence of movements is interrupted if the switch for hard operation is released. The sequence will be continued. So the LEDs, what do the LEDs mean? While the hardtop is being operated, the left LEDs light up green. It goes out as soon as the top is fully opened or closed. If the right-hand LED flashes red when you release the switch, the opening or closing action has not yet finished. If the right LED lights up red when the switch is pressed, the cargo bay partition is folded up, the luggage compartment lid is not closed, the vehicle is standing on a strong incline and malfunction. Automatic sequence of events is interrupted if the switch or hard operation is released. The sequence can be continued in the desired direction by pushing or pulling the switch. If the hardtop is not fully opened or closed, the luggage compartment lid cannot be opened and the windows cannot be moved. That's it, guys. This is a logic problem. The car thinks that the top isn't fully closed or open. That's flashing. So it disables the windows and the trunk. The customer said that the trunk button also doesn't work. Hey. So you're telling me the German experts didn't read the owner's manual? This is a logic input problem. There's no problems with the switches or the doors or the modules. Okay, so we're on the right track. We have to re-enable these rear windows because it is setting codes. I think they either unplugged something or pulled the relays. I might call this Charlie guy and ask him what it, so I don't have to spend 2 hours looking for whatever he unplugged. And then we're going right back to the scanner and seeing what are the inputs for this top so the computer can see it's fully closed. Once that is fully closed and happy, all the windows should work, the trunk should work, everything should be great. So the issue was, I'm sure, was one little input, some little contact switch in the top disabling all the windows. So if you just read the owner's manual, it's not that hard to figure out. But the hard part's going to be to sift through the data. Since there's no code, it's an input problem. Okay? Okay, so in the convertible top module, I went to blocking conditions, and any of these can cause the roof not to work. Ambient temperature too low, battery state of charge, Hall effect sensor, micro switch, cowl panel is reached, pump temperature, so no, 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 tailgate's not open, tilt sunroof is not closed. All this stuff is no, so it's not being blocked. Let's look at sensors and switches. See, luggage compartment partition. Let's see, does that say closed or open? It says closed. Okay. Cowl panel. Micro switch, cowl panel locked, cowl panel reached, cowl panel unlocked. I don't know what this means. We're going to have to do some research on why this is blinking red. Anything else here? Cowl panel, roof package, coupling lock, opened, closed, closed. So this is going to be, like I said, roof shells partially closed, roof shells partially opened. Locking switch closed, locking switch open. So what is locking switch? I don't know. They both say no. So this is where the time-consuming part is going to come in, is figuring out exactly what this convertible top module is looking for to be happy to enable the top. And once that's happy, then all the windows will be enabled. So everything's tied together. Yeah, pretty interesting. So guys, it's flashing red, right? That means it's not finished. If I go up or down, it stays solid red. You see, you went green and then red. It says, lights up red when the switch is pressed, the cargo bay partition is folded up, the luggage compartment lid is not closed, the vehicle is standing on a strong incline or there's a malfunction. What is this cargo bay partition is folded up? What is that? Maybe we can go in the trunk and see what the hell that is. Alright, so I got the trunk open by using the manual key, and this is what they must mean by luggage compartment partition. So in this state, it was like that. It says closed. If you lift it up like this, it'll say not closed, and so that seems to work. Closed, not closed. Let's lower the trunk. I don't know if there's a suck down. There is. So there should be luggage compartment, you know, how does it know if it's open or closed? So what is this in this data list? Rear module. We have rear module closed, rear module open, rear module almost closed. Look, it's almost closed. Shouldn't it be closed or open? What is this rear module? I don't know. We have to do more research, but I think using logic and scan data, we can figure this car out. So I made a phone call to the guy Charlie who worked on this thing last. He said when he got it from the shop in Queens, this thing was a disaster. It was torn apart, there were cut wires. obviously that shop got really frustrated and they returned the car in just terrible shape. So Charlie, he went through, reassembled everything, and then did his own testing and swapped modules. Still couldn't get anywhere, and that's where we are. But I asked him, where were the rear windows unplugged? Is there some, did you take a relay out or a fuse or what? He said, pull up the rear seat cushion like this, and there's a wire that the other shop cut, and he put actual spade terminals on here. So if we re-enable this, this should re-enable the rear windows. So let's try that, like that. So if we push this down, still doesn't work. Alright, so now we have both rear windows plugged in. Let's go into our junction box, clear fault code, read fault code, no DTCs. Can we bidirectionally lower these windows? So open rear driver's side window, activate, still nothing. Open rear passenger side window, still nothing. Did we set any codes? No codes. Should we reset the car? So these things are still dead even though we plugged them in. So for the rear window motors, for some reason the wiring colors change. Blue-green goes to black-yellow, and black-yellow goes to blue-green. So is this reverse polarity? What if we go into junction box and say close the window, data stream, actuation test, close driver's side window. Nope, still nothing. Close rear passenger side window, still nothing. Alright, so using an external power and ground, I lowered the driver's side rear window. Let's do the same for the passenger side, and then I want to bidirectionally try to open this top and see what happens. Alright, so I'm going to connect power and ground. Nope, it wants to go the other way. There we go. Okay, so now this window's down. Now let's take the stuff off the roof and try the bidirectional control. Alright, actuation test, automatic soft close system. Open, active. That's it. Activation finished. Let's do close. Open. Okay. No code stored in the convertible top module, which is crazy. It's basically, I think we have to go through all these sensors and switches, read description operation, see what each one is supposed to be. Like the cowl panel, it's not locked or unlocked. It says reached. Is that a problem? It's not locked all the way? Alright, I think I found what we needed for the logic of these micro switches and Hall effect sensors. So under convertible top description operation components, positions of the hard top, it says total of 15 sensors are available, 10 Hall effect sensors and 5 micro switches. So in each position, like for example hard top open and stored in the luggage compartment, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 status PIDs, which we can see in the scanner. And then rear module open, Roof shells in the package extended and rear module open. Roof shells in the package extended and rear module closed. Hardtop closed. So right now hardtop's closed, so let's see with the scanner what all of these micro switches are supposed to say and what the current status is. Alright, here we go. So for roof closed, here are the correct status, yes or no, for each of the micro switches. Let's go through the list. So start with roof package, set up and stored. So if you go to roof package setup, yes, that means this one, so we'll check that one off the list. Roof package stored, no. Roof package stored says no, and then roof package left and right. So this is left and right, no, check. Next one is roof shells. Roof shells. These say partially closed yes, partially open no, partially opened no, partially closed yes. So check and check, those are happy. Next is cowl panel locked and unlocked. So if we go to cowl panel, so it says not locked, reached, and not unlocked. This one right here, no. So that disagrees. Unlocked is no, and then reached is yes, and that one agrees. So far we have one disagreement. Let's go to rear module. Rear module. Module closed, module opened, module almost closed. Okay? Again, we have a disagreement right here. It says no. Opened says no, so that agrees, and almost closed says yes, and that agrees. Alright, we're almost done. Luggage compartment position. That one we already checked. That one is closed. So it says closed. Check. Then we have this interlocking ring buckle. That was in the, I think it was in the coupling lock. Yes, the ring buckle. Ring buckle opened. So right hand, ring buckle opened. Right hand, ring buckle closed. Right hand, right hand. So they all say no. This one disagrees. Then the open one, they all say no. So that one checks out. And left hand interlocking ring buckle closed. It should say yes, but we say no. So left hand ring buckle closed, no. So we have 4 disagreements here. This thing isn't fully closed, but it's stuck. So what's the next step? Alright, so I removed this trim piece. Guys, this is the epitome of German engineering. Holy crap, how is this supposed to even work? So the micro switch that they're talking about is right here. See the wires coming to it? The yellow and brown. So if I lift that with my pick, it clicks, and sure enough, the scanner sees that change. So that's supposed to be up when the roof is fully closed. So obviously the roof is not fully closed since we have 4 switches disagreeing. Now my question is, how the hell do we activate these components to move the top? Do we have to do it manually? Because the bidirectional controller refuses to do anything. Look at all the pistons and oh my gosh, this is truly ridiculous. Alright, so we have to start somewhere. One of these 4 disagreeing switches. This cowl panel locked or unlocked, and cowl panel reached. So on scan data, we saw that this one was disagreeing. In the closed position, the cowl panel should be locked. It is not. Why is that? So on the wiring diagram, I want to manually energize this drive unit for hardtop lock. It's connector X270 at the convertible top module, so I took off some trim. Here is the convertible top module. Here's connector X270, and I'm just going to manually feed it power and ground through a 5 amp test light. So we'll go one way, go the other way, and we'll see what happens to our data PIDs. So let me lock it. Okay, so that micro switch, when it went all the way, boom, it says locked. Our red button is still blinking, so that switch changed state. Let's go the other way. So now it's unlocked. It says yes. So that works. So for some reason this thing was not locked all the way in. So let's make it locked. Yes. So this one, manual bypass, and now it says yes. We have 3 more to go. Rear module closed, ring buckle closed, and the left and the right hand ring buckles. What are those? I don't know what the ring buckles are exactly, but if they have a motor that can be, energized, we can do the same thing. If it's controlled by the hydraulic pump, well then I think we're out of luck, because we can't just energize the pump and the valves. It's all controlled by the module, and obviously it's still not happy. So that's we figured out one issue, but that's not really the root cause of the problem.